Well, welcome everyone to the 7th episode of our fall Facebook Live series here on the official Facebook home of the Covenant College Scots. I'm Andrew Mindeman, Director of Athletic Communications here at Covenant, and tonight we're being joined by members of the Covenant baseball program. We have with us head coach Doug Simons. Coach Simons has been at Covenant since 2005, restarted the baseball program that officially began varsity competition once again in 2007. His programs have had tremendous success, a couple of national tournament appearances, USA South regular season title back in 2014. And of course, Coach Simons is a former Major League pitcher as well, pitched for the New York Mets and the Montreal Expos back in the early 90s. So happy to have Coach Simons with us tonight. We also have a couple of players with us. We have senior Tyler Moore out of Stone Mountain, Georgia. Tyler has been a key player for this program during his time here. He's a career .311 hitter in 105 games played. We're excited to have him on the show tonight. And finally, we have Josh Harvey, a junior from Apex, North Carolina. Josh completed his first year as a Scot last season and hit .367 with 10 RBIs, and then was a USA South all-academic honoree. So we're excited to have the Covenant baseball program with us tonight. If you are new to the show, this is an interactive show, and we welcome your comments and questions for this group. If you do have a question or a comment for the baseball team, leave it in the comments below, and we will get to as many of those as we can throughout the show tonight. But first, we're going to start with head coach Doug Simons. And Coach, you just finished the usual fall season a couple of weeks ago. What were some of your impressions from your team this fall?
Thanks, Andrew, for hosting this and everyone who's watching. I think guys have a new appreciation for just being on the baseball field. I noticed that when we started practice. I think when the baseball gets taken from you, like it did last year, even for our new guys who were in high school, and it gets taken from them, I think people just have a new appreciation for being on the field, smelling the grass, hearing the crack of the bats, and competing and the camaraderie and stuff like that. So that was the first thing I noticed. I mean, that guys just realize it's a privilege to be on the baseball field and play, especially at this level. And so it was a competitive fall with the new NCAA rules. I mean, we stretched out our fall for 8 weeks, and we made it really competitive. A lot of our practices were intra-squad games, and so it was a good time for us to evaluate and watch the new guys, see how they fit in with the returners, and see guys compete. I mean, we got a lot of our lineup returning from last year, but see some of the guys compete for those open spots, and there's a big competition for mound time. And so it was good watching that. So I was overall impressed with our freshman class too, and just with our returners and their progress. So I'm looking forward to seeing these new guys kind of put some push and put some pressure on our returners.
Josh, you had a good fall as well. You were on the team that ended up winning the fall championship series. You had a 2-run homer in the championship game a little over a week ago. What did you see out of the team this fall?
Yeah, I'm really excited about what I saw. I think that, as Coach Simon said, we got a lot of kind of our core lineup coming back from last year, and I think all those guys have improved and gotten stronger and bigger. It was fun to have Tyler and Brooks and Lewis out there coaching, and even though they couldn't practice with us, I know that they've been working hard. But I was also super impressed with the freshmen. So shout out to Coach Phillips and Coach Simons for the recruiting class. But I was really impressed with some of the young guys coming in, pitchers and hitters. We had some really good arms that looked good this fall, especially on my team. And yeah, I just am super excited to get out there in the spring and compete with them.
Tyler, like Josh mentioned, you were around in the fall. You're taking your last eligible semester next year, this upcoming spring, so you can play one more season. But you were still around the team in the fall in a coaching role. How did that help you as you prepare to come back in the spring?
I mean, just being around the team, just forming those bonds with the players, that's one thing that's really going to help, because honestly, a team with good chemistry is going to be a winning team. And it was pretty crucial for Brooks, Lewis, and I to be around the team this fall, and knowing that we can't practice, and we didn't want our first time meeting the guys to be in the spring. We didn't want that. We didn't want them to have to go through that and see us for the first time in the spring. So I think just being around the guys in the fall really created some good team camaraderie. And it was pretty difficult as well. You see, as a coach, you see what Coach Simons and Phillips go through on a daily basis, and a lot of players look up to me on the field, and it was just really cool and interesting to coach them and show them how Covenant baseball works and the culture and the motto that we've been trying to build for the last couple of years.
Once again, if you're new to the show, this is an interactive show. So if you have a question or a comment for the Covenant baseball team, feel free to drop it in the comments. We'll try to get to those throughout the show. Coach Simons, you mentioned this a little bit, but let's shift back to last spring. Off to a tremendous start. Everything is kind of clicking for your program. And then the pandemic hit, and your team, along with all other teams in the country, lost the rest of their seasons. Walk us through the messaging that you had for your program when you went through that difficult time and had that good season taken away.
Yeah. I think my main message was life just doesn't always go as planned, and in a way, it's a good thing it doesn't, because we always think we know what's best for us. But just knowing that our Heavenly Father is in control of things, and He knows what He's doing. So we're His children, and He takes care of His children, and He's the King. So, that was my main message, was just to trust Him. And, this is the whole reason we don't put our identity in baseball, because that would have just crushed guys even more so. But rather, we got to put our identity in something that can't be taken from us, like our identity as a child of the King who's in control. So baseball is a game of adversity, and man, we hit adversity on steroids last spring, and it was just, I wanted to share with them, remember who you are in Christ, and remember who's actually in control.
Tyler, that was your senior season last year. You're thinking like, this is it. We're having a good season, and then things happen. How did you and the team respond in light of everything that happened last spring?
Initially, when we first got that email, it was hard. It was hard. It hurt us a lot. And like you just heard Coach Simon say, we don't like to put our identity in the game of baseball, but we should be putting it in Christ. But I can assure you, a lot of us had our identity in baseball. And when we felt like the ball was taken completely out of our hand, the bat was taken out of our hand, it hurt us a lot. But we didn't, some of us came back, some of us packed up and went on with our lives. But I think the guys really, almost instantly got back to work. We knew there was an opportunity to play again in a year from then. And we knew what the team we had, we knew the pitching staff we have, hitters we have, and we knew what we could come and do it. And so I think guys really got back to work immediately, and it showed this fall. We had a lot of competition, and like Josh said, shout out to Coach Simons and Coach Phillips. We're bringing in some of the freshmen who are going to be competing for spots this year. And so I feel like the team from last year who are still here, the returners, in light of all that happened, I feel like they were all still level-headed and ready to roll in the spring.
Now, Josh, coming back to school this fall obviously looks a lot different than it was last fall. So as the team comes together and as you're practicing, you've got this new normal of COVID precautions that you're having to go through. How has the team chemistry and the bonding been able to happen amidst all of these new changes that are happening this fall?
Yeah, I think having a bit of an extended fall where we had a 8-week season was really helpful. We got to get to know the freshmen and practice with them for 8 weeks straight. And I think when we kind of split into 3 teams, like just competing alongside one another and trying to get better and beat one another was a way that I really got to know a lot of the freshmen really well. And then just carrying on, like Tyler and Ken Alexander and Brooks and all the seniors from the past few years have just done a really good job of creating a really welcoming culture for the freshmen and for young guys coming up. And that was also kind of a message of Coach Simons at the end of last season, was just like, don't let that culture go to waste. We want to keep building on that culture and keep making guys feel welcome and motivate them to work hard. And I think I've definitely seen that. Just like when I go into the Great Hall, I see seniors cutting it up, having a good time with freshmen. And we are about to start our Cedar Rapids Challenge, which is where the team kind of competes against each other in some conditioning stuff. And so it's just been really fun culture to be a part of. And I think we've done a good job of still kind of coming together as a team, even though it's been a little bit weird that we, have to social distance or wear masks when we're hitting and stuff like that. But I think having the extended fall and just having a really good group of upperclassmen that have been very welcoming to the freshmen and young guys has been great.
And if anybody has any questions, feel free to send it in. But now we're going to play a little bit of trivia. We'll see how well you all know about Covenant baseball history trivia. And you at home can play along as well. If you know the answer to any of these, drop it in the comments. But we got 3 questions, and we'll see how many of these we can get right. Of course, Coach Simons has been around and has seen everything, so I expect him to get every answer right. But we'll see. All right, question number 1. Last year's team was 11-4 through 15 games. What is the best 15-game start to a season in program history? I'm looking for the record and the year that it occurred.
2014, 12-3.
That's a good guess. Coach, you're shaking your head.
I was going to say 2013. Am I close? Did I even guess a record? Was I right on the year?
You're right on the year.
Oh, yeah. All right. 10-2. I'm guessing.
No. Tyler had the right idea for the record. 12-3 is the correct record, and then 2013 is the correct year. And assistant coach Paul Phillips just chimed in. He had the correct answer. He just sent me a comment. So, yes. 12-3 in 2013. That was a team that finished with 28 wins, which is still the program record for the modern era of the program's history. And that team went to the NCCA National Tournament in Covenant's final year of transition to Division III. So I'll give you 1 point on that. Between Tyler's record and Coach, you got the year right. We'll say 1 for 1. All right. Question number 2. Who are the only 2 players in program history to go over 200 career hits?
I'm going to say Caleb Loy.
No, it's not Caleb Loy. Caleb, he finished with 199.
Caleb did finish with 199.
Did my brother have 200? I don't know.
No.
James Rollins.
Good guess, but no.
Scott
Um,
Gillespie.
Who was my other guys? Coach Thomas.
Josh just said it. Josh, what was the last name you just said?
Scott Gillespie.
That's one of them.
Gillespie.
That is one of them.
David Lockwood.
Yes, that's the other one. David Lockwood holds the program record for career hits. He had 220 in his 4 years. And then Scott Gillespie is the other one. He has 204. And then Caleb Lloyd sitting there at 199, almost. All right, you guys are doing well. That's 2 for 2. Okay. All right, this one I picked especially because Josh is going to be on the show with us. So anybody can guess, but really I want to see if Josh can get this one right.
Oh, boy.
All right. So Luke Harvey, Josh's older brother, played here at Covenant College from 2014 to 2017. Luke holds the program's career record for stolen bases. How many steals did he have?
56.
I think it's 57.
It's too low. Still
Really?
too low. A little
63.
higher. A little higher. You're in sort of the neighborhood.
63.
That's a little closer.
65.
I'll give you one more shot. One more shot. It's not 65.
67. 66.
Oh, close. You're right around. You're right around it. Coach Simons, you got a guess for us? I know you've been scouring the record book.
I that's Coach Phillips. He's on Googling stuff, and
Mama Harvey says 62.
He didn't get as much playing time his freshman year as he did his last 3 years, and I would say he averaged probably 18 to 20 his last 3 years. Something in there, but yeah. So somewhere in
the final number that he finished with was 68. 68 in his 4 years. And he did hold the single season stolen base record of 26 until John Mitchell in 2019 stole a whole bunch of bases. He had 27 to set the record. But Luke Harvey, a theft on the bases for sure during his time here. So that was pretty good. That was some good guesses there, Josh. I applaud you for those. Hopefully that doesn't get you in any trouble at home. I don't want to. All right, let's move on. Let's take a look to the spring. Coach Simons, as you recap what happened in the fall and you look to see what your roster is going to be like in the spring, what are some goals that you're going to have for this group?
I think first of all, just keep it going. We had it going, and just to keep that going, obviously we want to win every single game we play. I usually don't have wins, goals and stuff like that, because we want to win every game. We want to win our conference. We want to win the national title. We want to end up with a dog pile in Cedar Rapids. And so we'll do everything we can for that. But, I want these guys to be great teammates to one another. We have the mantra kind of stolen from Joe Ehrman, that the coach's job is to love the players and the players' job is to love each other. And so that's a goal of ours. But ultimately, the big picture is that each guy will develop individually into be the best baseball player they can, academically, so they can be prepared for the rest of their life vocationally. But even more so than that is just spiritually, that they become more and more Christ-like. And so we try to do things during the course of the year that we can control, and those are some of the goals that we have for our guys.
Josh, you're going to be coming into your second playing year at Covenant in the spring after transferring in from UNC Wilmington. How much of an influence has this program had on you in your short time here?
Yeah, it's been huge. I've loved playing for Coach Simons, Coach Phillips, just having Christian coaches that really model the gospel and also know their baseball and are great coaches. And then just being a part of a program with guys that, are cheering for each other and love each other and kind of we all have one common goal, which is to win, but also to grow together as teammates and honor Christ. So it's been just really fun to be a part of a team that kind of gels the way that we do. And yeah, I was very devastated last year when the season got cut short, but I'm super excited to get to play a whole season through this time, hopefully, and see how we can work together as a team and what we accomplish.
Tyler, as you look forward to your final season in the spring, what kind of legacy are you and the rest of the senior class hoping to leave this program with?
One thing us seniors really emphasize is we just want to leave the program better than we found it. And I think thus far we've done that, but there's always room for improvement. And one thing we're emphasizing is really like a hustle mentality. We just, we got to be dogging it in everything we do. And that's one thing that wasn't necessarily there in the past, my freshman year. But we're trying to emphasize these things to make the team better as a whole. And hopefully the things that we do and the way that we are practicing outside of like coaches practice, or like the fall season ended a week ago, but last week there was a week off. This week we're back at it with player-led practices, and we're trying to go 4 days a week, and and if we can leave the team with that kind of mentality, of like a go-getter team, a scrappy team, hard-working team, a really hustling team, that's all we can do, and that's really what we're trying to leave the team with. And so, like I said earlier, a team that just we want to leave the program better than we found it.
I'm going to let you guys out with this one here. All right, so our own assistant coach, Paul Phillips, had the opportunity to go to World Series games over the weekend in Texas. And Coach Phillips had his moment in the sun almost on national TV. So this is from Game 3 of the World Series last Friday night, and let's just see what happens here with the fan going over the railing. Oh, that's our own Paul Phillips going over the railing on national TV. All right, so Josh and Tyler, we need to break this down here, and let's talk about the hustle here from Coach Phillips and what skills he was showing off here. So what kind of breakdown or what kind of grade do you guys have for Coach Phillips here on this effort?
I'm gonna give it a 0 out of 10. As you can see where the ball is, it's not really near him, but he's really putting his body on the line and risking injury right here, jumping over a railing. It's probably he's about 6 feet, so that's probably about a 7 foot, 8 foot jump down. And, he's getting kind of old, and his bones are a little fragile. So that's probably a 0 out of 10. Really risking the body, and he's got kids at home, young kids. He's got to be able to move around. So I'm giving a 0 out of 10. Just a little bit too ambitious right there. Too ambitious.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Josh, what do you got for Coach?
Probably like a 4.5 out of 10. I'm actually kind of surprised that he went after it. He tried to stretch before a practice this fall, and he ended up being out 2 weeks with a back injury after just doing a lunge. So I'm a little surprised that he just went straight into an 8 foot jump with no stretching unless he prepared beforehand. But kind of as Tyler said, it's obvious the ball was heading back into the field as he decided to jump. And I really think it was
it's already past him.
So it's kind of a no play, no throw situation. Just don't really see the point in going after this one. Mostly for attention, I think. So I'm going to go 4.5 out of 10.
There was some false hustle there, that's for sure. But he was representing us with that Covenant baseball T-shirt hoodie.
Yeah, that is true. And right here, he's playing the ricochet. So that means he was just going to bully some poor little kid trying to get to that baseball.
I guess I don't understand that. I don't know. That's a tough ricochet to play, but
Yeah, it is.
That's what he says. Oh my! Well, good times by him, and great to talk with you all. We're looking forward to what the Covenant baseball program will offer in the spring. Hopefully, we can get through a full season this time and see how far the Scots can go. We want to thank the Covenant baseball team, head coach Doug Simons, senior Tyler Moore, and junior Josh Harvey for joining us this evening. A complete replay of this will be available on our Facebook page at the conclusion of the show and will be available tomorrow on our YouTube account as well. Thanks again, everybody, for joining in. We'll be back next week with our 8th episode of our Fall Facebook Live series. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
You.